Alrighty folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back if you were joining me earlier for the 3D market commentary. My name is Bojan Petreski, go by Bo, easy to say to remember. Today is July 6, 2021, Tuesday morning for me. Welcome to the Futures Now intraday trading session. If you haven't already, please check out the link here, tradewithufos.com/Bojan, to get access to our newsletter, as well as to sign up for free membership and check out what else we have to offer for you. All right, let's take a look at the agenda of what we'll be doing today. So we are simulcasting. We have public streams on platforms such as YouTube and Facebook, and coming up soon to LinkedIn and Twitch as well. They will run for a limited amount of time until we basically find our first trade of the day. Then we're going to switch over to our private stream, that is tradewithufos.com/live, that will continue with no time restriction. Now there is a slight video lag just because of how networks work and how the internet works for now. And then of course, please definitely use the chat box to type any questions, any comments you may have, in order to avoid kind of waiting for that lag to propagate throughout everybody until we get that. So please don't be shy. Use the chat box. Good morning, Tony. Good to see you, buddy. All right, let me just pull up the. I actually did not get the Vimeo. Okay, here we go. We got everything already pulled up here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you didn't already, we realized we went over the market environment essentially as soon as we did the 3D market commentary of the different markets that we're going to look at. Now, we obviously on the 3D market commentary, we only look at a couple of them. Over here, we're going to look at every one of the instruments that we're going to be working with. We're going to analyze what the market environment is, and then we're going to look to open trades. Before we do that, let's go ahead and open up some of the previous trades we did last week. All right. And I believe that was the 29th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. All right, so for the 29th, we had a crude oil setup, a crude oil exit. Let's see, this one was, there we go. All right, so crude oil, we did have a setup. Now this one did pop a T1. We ended up moving our stop, and then boy, did it run the other way, right? I don't know if you were with me, you would definitely remember this one. We popped our T1. We were looking to establish maybe some ground rules to move our stop a little bit more. We did not get a chance. Paint was definitely drying faster than this market was moving at that time, until it finally decided to say, hey, you know what? That's that. So we got our T1 there. We made some money, and our stop was moved there. So it was an overall profitable trade. Oops, sorry about that. All right, and then the other one that we looked at, where the heck did it go? There we go. All right, we did look at RTY. It gave us a setup, right? And it was moving a little quick. It was dropping quite fast. This one was a stop out before we could move our time stop. So there was really not a whole lot else to be said about this one. We were looking at the other markets for, we were looking at the other markets like the NQ, the ES, and everybody. And things were moving kind of the same way. They were dropping, but then the NQ rallied really strong, but the Russell just kept falling down. We ended up catching the Russell. And then the Dow 240-minute setup we had on here. So this one, I was a little late with closing it, but nonetheless, it was closed. So we did get into this trade. It was a 240-minute trade. I was kind of hoping that this would be the trade that kind of keeps us in it, because if you can actually take a look at it, we'll take a look at it later too. It kept on going higher and higher as things were going. So this would have been a really nice trade to carry through. Did something just happen, or no? It looks like everything's good. Okay. All right, great. So let's go ahead and get started with the session. I'll just open up TradeStation. Just realized I didn't have it open. All right. Oh, I did just realize I did not have the Facebook stream open, so if anybody's watching on Facebook, I may have missed any questions you may have had. There we go. We're all set. All right, let's go ahead and open up our workspace here. The auto climates. And see what we can get today. All right, so for those of you that haven't been with the channel before, haven't really seen how we go about things, we essentially trade a very strict permission-based system, right? Where essentially we don't even open a chart unless we have a permission to do so. Sorry, I just got an itch in my eye. I don't know what the heck. And what we expect to see, what we want to see is the following. We need a confirmed climate, meaning there's a color in this column here. And then on top of that, we would like the condition to be a near sensible, long or short, depending on the color here. So we want it to be a near sensible, meaning that the price is nearby. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, right? It's not, bad to open a sensible short that's already red, right? That's not, per se bad. It's allowed. But I would say we should definitely focus on the ones that are near sensible, because we've seen it time and time again when we have these sessions. It's like we miss them by minutes, and we could have been into T1 by the time that they were open. So that's why it's important to understand and realize what we're doing here. So that's why we need to just focus our efforts to the places where we see the most probability of getting some sort of a setup and potentially a return on our time. All right, so the first one that we see here is the ES, the 50-minute on the ES. Let's go ahead and open that up. We are about 22 minutes away from the open. So let's see what we're going to see on the 50-minute on the ES. Everybody so far following along with me, right? Why we do what we do, how we do it, and so on, until we actually get started. All right. So I think that's fully loaded now, if I'm not mistaken. There it is. Okay. All right, so this is what we have on the ES. Let's see if we can reset that too. There we are. All right, so 43, 41, 25 is the moving average, which is a tick below current price. As you see, we do not have any auto UFOs below, so that gives me an opportunity to just kind of explain what we're going to be looking for in these setups. So the first thing that we see and notice and realize is the fact that the climate is confirmed, right? It is a thick blue dot. That's the first thing. That's what we saw on the screener, but sometimes it's always good to double check, because sometimes, especially during volatile times when prices move really rapidly, this could actually become a thin dot by the time you load your chart. It has happened to me many times, and a few times I've actually made the mistake of thinking, okay, this is confirmed, let's get in at market. And then you realize, like, oh crap, I made a mistake. So definitely always take a look at that climate window down below. Make sure that it is a confirmed climate. And then the second thing that we want to notice is where this 9 moving average, the 9 EMA is, the exponential moving average, what the current price is. As we see, it's at 43, 41, 21. Right, which is basically the same as 43, 41, 25, right? Because the ES moves in quarter points. What we want to see, what we want to, catch in this scenario is the following. We have the climate working for us. We have a moving average working for us. We just need something else to work for us here on any one of these 3 charts. And that something else is, in fact, a UFO, where these potential unfilled orders may be. 43.39.50 to 43.38.75 is the nearest one. However, it is definitely below the moving average. So unfortunately, this one, while it is close, it will not work, right? Close enough does not work in our channel. It's actually a 1.25 away below the moving average. But what we expect to see is that this moving average kind of pushes orders up, right? That's what we want to see. We want to see, you know, let's say as price is falling down, right? We want to see this moving average kind of go here like that, and the price also continuing upward from there, basically, you know, not to cross over the moving average, right? Because when it crosses over, then we're switching gears. We're expecting this to get confirmed down climate, so then something like this could happen, right? So that's why that moving average is important to follow. All right, so after that, I mean, if that's all clear, something like that, you know, or if you have any questions, definitely just type it in the chat. Let me know if you think it is all good. If it's not, you know, definitely type it in the chat. Then for sure, if you don't feel comfortable typing it in the chat, you can always send me an email to bojan@tradictive.com, right there, bojan@tradictive.com. All right. Alrighty. So that's that for the, you know, what kind of setups we're looking for, what sort of information we want to see. Look at that point in fact right there. Look at that. I'm just going to zoom in on this. Okay, there we go. As I was saying it, look at that. It is unconfirmed. It is below the moving average. So what does that mean? We sit on our hands. As a matter of fact, we can just go ahead and close this workspace, because that, you know, climate became unconfirmed, and it's 2 minutes away from actually being updated right now, because this is a 15-minute time frame, right? So it gets updated every 15 minutes. Okay, interestingly enough, everything is kind of in the same ballpark, I would say. The Dow is also in a similar scenario. Negative ATR means that you see how the ATR here shown, ATR spread, it's negative, right? That's why it's in parentheses. That's because it's trading below the moving average. If it's negative on the blue side, like it is right now, it is trading below the moving average. If it's a short climate, looking for short opportunities, if it's a down climate, is what I'm trying to say, and it's a negative number, that means it's trading above the moving average. All right, so we're gonna have an update in about a minute from here. I'm just gonna leave this open for now just to see if I don't see any questions. I guess everybody's following along nicely. That's good stuff. I'm just gonna take a sip of water. And wait for this climate to update in about 30 seconds to see if we have anything. Except for the fact that I just realized we did have one down here, RTY 240 minute. So let's go ahead and open that workspace real quick. Okay, and then we'll go back to the climates just to see if there's anything else on the 50 minute, because obviously these 240 minute climates, you know, they're nice, they're good, they're nice size, let's call them. Here we go. ES and YM are both sensible short. All right, let's take a look at that. ES 15 minute, YM 15 minute. I'm definitely gonna pay more attention to them versus the 240 minute, just because it's developing much faster, moving much faster too. All right, and there's a good chance that it'll be a smaller risk. All right, so I still haven't opened this on here, so let's take a look at this one. All right, no UFOs nearby that we see, but after a steep drop, we could see a UFO form, so we're gonna keep our eyes peeled for that. In the meantime, I'm just gonna put this on the YMU21. It wasn't typing. Here we go. We do have, oh boy. This will be, okay, actually it's the same one. We do have a UFO there. 34,660. Moving average at 34,652. All right, that's perfect. 34,660, right? That's just, yeah, 34,660. 34,660 is our entry point. Our stop is going to be a couple of ticks. You can do 1 or 2. That's completely up to you. I just usually do 1. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 above. That means our T1 has to be adjusted by 1, 2, 3, 4 below. And now, last but definitely not least, is we're looking at where our final target is going to be. And we need to enable this. Okay. Our final target is actually fairly close by. Our final target is at 34,619. All right, 34,619 right there. That's our T2. All right. Last but definitely not least, we need to take a screenshot of this. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Print screen. There it is. Okay. Save that. 2021-0706. YM 15-minute setup. For trades. And there it is. Alright. Looks like it is coming along nicely. We're about 6 ticks away from getting filled. Let's see if we will get in this trade before the market opens. It'll be really nice. This is kind of like the best case scenario, honestly. If we get filled and we pop a T1 essentially before the market opens. That's kind of like the best case, most optimal scenario. So to speak. Now, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you could realistically take this UFO here, right? And you could essentially already be in this trade. It'll just be a little bit more risk, right? I took the smaller UFOs just because, I don't want to risk that much, essentially speaking, but it would be a valid trade if you have a bigger risk appetite. You could be already in this trade at 34,652. So you could choose which one you want to do. You want to be the more conservative one and miss the trade, or you want to be the more aggressive one, take the trade but risk a little bit more. So if it does stop you out, obviously you lose a little bit more. I'm right now of a little bit more conservative side, obviously, because if you looked at the daily market overview, in the daily time frame, we are overall in an up climate, but at the same time it is essentially really overextended. So we're gonna just kind of wait this out right now. Wait a minute, did I make a mistake here? 34,652. 34,650. I'm sorry, folks. I actually did make a mistake. Now the entry is right there where current price is, essentially. So that was an error on my side. So let's go ahead and pull this up to 74. Okay. The entry is actually in here because that's where the moving average is, 653. We were going to enter at 660, which is above the moving average. So that was a miscalculation on my part. I do apologize for that. Let's go ahead and reset this right there. Okay. So it's the same, essentially the same exact trade. I'm just going to have to kind of set it real quick. Let me just take another screenshot of this properly. That's why I was like, wait, something's not adding up. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but that's what it was. It was the fact that, the moving average at 653, but we were going to enter at 660. So yeah, that's not going to work. All right, let's So we're all good now. And the one last thing that we need to do here is to manage this trade properly, right? And by doing so, this is what we're gonna do. That's our entry candle, right? That's the this is the time-based frame, right? So the time frame that's using time. That's basically a gonna give us a guiding point as to the time in trade. 1, 2, 3. We definitely want to spend enough time to give this to move, but not more that we become a little bit too hopeful. So we need to make sure that we follow another strict rule that we have here, which is the time in trade. And that one basically states that within this, magenta rectangle, we need to have our T1. And if we don't, we're going to go ahead and close this trade at market. All right, so it's moving along okay, kind of slowing down a little bit. Interestingly enough, this will be 2 minutes shy of the open. It would be great if we have a T1 before it opens, right? Because you see here, it'll be at 8:28 my time, or rather, not. I think that's Mountain Time for some reason. Yeah, in New York time, so at 28, so meaning 2 minutes before the open, this will be the time stop will be activated. Now, if these UFOs still remain active, then I'm not going to close the trade. If the UFOs do disappear, then I will close the trade, because essentially speaking, it's the same thing. We'll just be 6, 7, 4. Okay, 32. And the last one is at 6:12. Let me just double check that real quick. We did say 6:12 on the bottom side, right? Can you guys confirm too? I just want to double check that it didn't move. 6:19. Oh boy. 6:19 is actually the final target. Sorry folks, this first trade was a little choppy. I don't usually like doing things like this, but here we are. Okay, let's take a look. While this is kind of still developing, as you see, it's not really doing much. It's back at our entry. ES is shooting a little higher, which would probably mean that the Dow is going to follow, or vice versa, right? Okay, oh, that's what I'm doing. Why is this not loading? RTU21. And if you do want to check out, how does he just know the symbols like that? All you really have to do is just go to, right here, I'm going to bring it to you, the barchart.com. And you just take a look at the list of the most active all futures, and that will give you the latest, front month contract. Okay, so that's an easy way to take care of that. All right, ES also kind of shooting higher, even though it's still a confirmed down climate, surprisingly. Here we go. The Dow also kind of did a little bit of a splurge to the upside. We're going to see what's going to happen here. We're going to track this closely. As I said, the best case scenario would have been, okay, now that UFO did disappear, our entry UFO did disappear, the one over here. So should we, go past this point here, we're going to go ahead and close the trade at market. If it does pull back down and gives us that T1, as I said, that would be best case scenario. Alrighty. Other than that, on the 240-minute RTY, there's also nothing here to do for us, because as you see, even though it's the 240 minutes, it's right on the money with the moving average. So unfortunately, this one does move quite a bit slower than the other one. There's a good chance that within our session, no UFO will form, but we're going to keep an eye on it, just in case. All right. Other than that, we don't really have anything else. All right, so let's just keep a lookout on the Dow here. See how it's gonna go. We have a couple more minutes until the open. Yeah, that's really it. Any questions, any comments, folks? Just let me know, please. How's it going? Is it going okay? Too fast? Too slow? If it's okay, let me know it's going okay. All right. 9:26. Okay. One more minute before this basically candle closes. Does not look like it's gonna go anywhere. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait it out. That's what we gotta do. ES is kind of shooting a little, pointing a little higher, but not really making it. You know, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Obviously, when they move, they typically move together. Although sometimes they've been known to going okay. Good stuff, Tony. Thank you. They have been known to kind of go opposite sides for a little bit until then they meet up again. So, you know, if not for nothing, but it would be great if this would be one of those times, right? Okay, we have another minute. Now that our entry UFO is not there, we can go ahead and close this trade as soon as we can. I would definitely say the sooner the better. Mainly because there we go. So we can officially close this trade at market. So let's go ahead and click close. Close. All right. And that's that for this trade. Unfortunately, did not work out to our favor. We did not lose much. That's the advantage of the time stop. So 0706. So YM 15-minute exit. Okay. Now, we don't have a UFO nearby, right? Yes, yeah, definitely will change fast. It's just that this would have been a lot better if we already had T1, right? Because if we had T1, then we're not really risking anything. Right now, we're risking, if you're still in it, you're risking to be essentially wigged out because you know how crazy things get when the market opens. So we got out right here for a small loss, right? A loss, but a small one. I think like 40 bucks or 50 bucks, whatever it might be on your end, you know, depending on the fill you got. Right, this could easily just start screaming on down, right? We would have been like, oh man, what the heck, right? But that's, you know, those are our rules. That's what I've back tested, and I've shown this to help me a lot more than it does, than it goes against me, than it prevents me from profits. It saves me from losses more than it prevents profits. That's what I found for myself. I've back tested it extensively, you know, taking notes on each trade. Hey, this is what this did, this is what that did, this is what this did. Okay, so yeah, I do want to just see what the market open does, because if something like this happens, right? If it opens and then it shoots up and then just shoots down and we have a UFO still within here, oh, but the climb is not confirmed. Never mind. All right, so there we go. Right there we have permission to just go ahead and close this chart. As you see, the craziness is starting. And our stop was right here at 74. Boom, stopped out. Okay, for the full amount. ES is also popping higher. ES is a confirmed up climate though. Okay, so ES is actually giving us a little more strength. 42. So 42 is at the bottom. Yeah, it's at the bottom of this. I don't. As nice as it may look, it's at the bottom of it. 41.50 right here. This one actually, if it does test it, would actually be a much better entry. 41.50 right there. Okay, and that's actually a much better entry. 39.75, 39.75. So 39.50. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That's a much better entry on here. All right, where is this? There it is. So that's another setup that we're gonna look at right now. Okay. So 41.5. That should be well within reach for us. Should it test it? Oops, let me, there's really no T2 for this. This is always trail stop. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot of this. 2021 0706 ES 50-minute setup. All right. Definitely a lot of orders there. Oh man, please don't do us like that. Oh man, come on. All right, it touched it. No, it didn't touch there. So we're a tick away. One tick away. Could we really be that precise? A tick away from the turn point there. Yeah, that's what it seems like. $41.5. That okay? Here we go. We're in. We are in it. All right. And come on, T1, quick. Quick T1 is what we want to see. Especially when it's kind of crazy at the open like this. Definitely a lot of buyers and sellers at this exact area. We're just hoping we're on the right side of it all. 43.50 is our T1 and 39.50 is our exit point. I'm just gonna go ahead and start drawing this out just in case. I mean, I highly doubt that we're gonna remain in this trade for long. It's either gonna be a full stop out or a quick T1. 1, 2, 3, but you never know. I've been surprised before. All right, that's the zone that we have to have a result in, so to speak. All right, pushing a little lower, that's okay. Our stops in place for that exact reason. 39.5, 43.5 is the exit point. And folks, as soon as we kind of finish up on this trade, we're gonna go ahead and switch to the private stream. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and switch to the private stream. As this trade develops, we're gonna go ahead and switch off to the private stream. So everybody joining us on the public side, I do appreciate you coming in and visit and being with us here on this wonderful Tuesday morning. All right, let's go ahead and get going on to the private one. All right, come on, yes. A little bit of a